Needed you.
Well, I'm sorry, but there you go.
There you go.
All right, we are coming in now. Y'all have a great show.
Oh, thank you. We will.
All right.
We always do. Well, not always.
Sometimes.
When I'm on, we do. Is that not weird noise?
I don't know.
Come with us on a journey into the unknown, the unexplained, and the unbelievable. We will test your senses and challenge your beliefs. A world where science and religion clash. Or do they? You will meet real people and hear real stories, but you will not believe. You will witness strange sights and hear strange sounds, but you will not believe. This is the New England Ghost Project. Welcome to the nightmare.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Ghost Chronicles International. I am Ron Kolick, your host, the gatekeeper of the realm of the unknown, the unexplained, and the unbelievable, the mystical, the magical, the macabre, New England's own Van Helsing. And with me is that stoic young man from Wales, the gold standard in ghost hunting, and the god of infrasound, Stephen Parsons.
Oh, you sound chipper.
Oh, I do. Thank you.
What's the matter?
Only a few more weeks of winter left. I'm excited.
Oh, you're getting the spring fever.
Spring. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Spring has sprung, the grass has riz. One wonders where the birdies is. Some say the bird is on the wing, but that's absurd because everybody knows the wing is on the bird.
That's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got an email from a listener and said,
Oh,
well, don't get excited.
what are you complaining about now?
No, they said they listened to the show and they said if I was serious, they knew I was serious about Valentine's Day cards, they would have sent me their address and I would have sent them one. Anyways, they said yes, it seems like cats do looks seem like they come from hell. So that's true. And they've been listening to the show since 2010.
What, they're still here?
Yeah, I know. That's a
Wow.
miracle in itself. It's like the the loaves and the fish, or something like that. But anyways, I just wanted to give that out there. And Deborah, that was from Deborah.
Well,
From the UK.
good evening, Deborah. Big shout out to Deborah. And have you not got anything better to do?
I know. I keep wanting. We keep wanting these people, but
Yeah, they won't listen.
yeah. Anyway, so we do you have a Valentine? We have you celebrate out Valentine's in the UK, right?
For the present, I'm not sure whether it's still legal.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You never know which minority interest group it's offending this week.
Yeah, that's true. But
So yeah, I think currently we I think it's still current. I've just stabbed myself. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted.
yeah. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I was playing with I was playing with the pocket knife.
You know, that's what you get. That's why they take sharp objects away from boys.
Yeah, they only let me write it with. They only let me write with crayons.
You know that's the funny part. It's like we were growing up. We play with all kinds of sharp objects. We didn't care, and our parents didn't care either, evidently. But we all survived, oddly enough. Well, most of them.
Not all. I mean, it was survival system.
Survival of fitness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Remember lawn darts? Did you have lawn darts in the UK?
Do we have lawn darts? Oh, I remember lawn darts.
Lawn darts, yeah.
Yeah. They were banned fairly quickly.
Yeah, well, we had them for a while. But, you know, I mean, you give boys a chance and they'll come up with something. I remember one time my brother, younger brother, who I could get to do just about anything. We had this regular dot game, like they play in the pubs. And yeah, I had this great idea because we had gotten this big box in about him putting it over his head, and I drew a target on the box. And he was going to stand in the box. And I was going to throw the dots at the box. Well, he put the box on. We drew the target on it and everything else. And I took my first shot and put it right in his knee, just below the box.
We used
Oh,
to
well, we survived.
we used to shoot one another with air rifles.
BB guns, yeah.
No, not BB guns.
No?
No, air rifle pellet guns.
Oh, yeah,
Much more powerful.
much more powerful. But yeah, we did BB guns. We didn't have pellet guns back then, but anyway.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't.
No. So, anyways, I do a couple things I do want to mention. You're in the middle of your course, or is your course still going on?
One more week. Nearly
And
done.
what course is this, Steve?
This is the ASAP an accredited investigator training module.
And what does it cover, really? I mean,
It's foundational. So it's all of the basic requirements that ASAP consider you would require to be a competent field investigator.
okay. So, is it more? I mean, is it equipment driven, common sense driven, or science driven, or spiritual driven? What is? I'm not sure.
ASAP is the Association for the Scientific Study of Anomalous Phenomena, so it's very much science focused and ethics focused.
Oh,
It does touch on all aspects of investigation through interview technique, research, using equipment, dealing with vulnerable individuals, through to report writing and reaching conclusions.
interesting.
So not that dissimilar, I guess, from Paranormal CSI. The ASAP course, the curriculum is drawn in large part from the SPR's guidance notes because they provide a useful I wouldn't go as far as to say course notes, but kind of course notes. Each participant actually is given a set of the SPR's guidance notes as an additional resource.
Okay.
The reason we use them is because they provide a common core upon which to base the curriculum for all trainees, irrespective of whether they're members of the SPR ASAP, the Ghost Club, or have their own individual groups.
And these are they're not like what can I say? People do they have to follow all the guidance in this course?
No, the word there is guidance. They are guidance notes. They're not rigid rules that must be adhered to. However, the caveat to that is that the guidance component applies to what people do in their private investigations with their own groups and teams. If they are representing ASAP on an assigned investigation, because ASAP puts together, people might write in and say, we need some assistance with an experience. So what would happen is ASAP would allocate that and a group of people to form a team in order to go and take a look at it. Now, ASAP has rules by which its teams must abide. So for the ASAP assigned investigations, there are rules that must be followed, but for the remainder and for general use, their guidance, foundational sort of guidance, good practice.
Okay, that makes sense. Do I mean, you sign investigations. Do you have, so there must be some type of hierarchy that goes
Yeah, there
through.
is. ASAP, if somebody contacts ASAP and says, I've had a weird experience. Now, ASAP doesn't just confine itself to ghosts. ASAP looks at all paranormal or anomalous phenomena. And that inquiry or that contact is fed to the investigations coordinator, and they will look at who they've got available, who has been trained, and where that person lives geographically, and then the investigations coordinator would reach out to um, the members and say, this is in your area, this is relative, this is nearby where you are you available? And then the assigned investigator would take charge of the case itself, reporting to the investigation coordinator.
Oh, okay. So do they share this information with the rest of the group?
Um, it The inquiry is passed directly to the investigation coordinator and then passed ultimately to the assigned lead investigator. The lead investigator would work directly with the client to undertake whatever was required, and then they would report back, both to the client and ultimately they would compile a written investigation report, which is sent ultimately to the archive officer where it's filed away.
Oh, okay. So it's not like it's not like even the Ghost Club where they publish some stuff once in a while.
ASAP don't routinely publish the results of their investigations. However, um, they are archived and they are available for research purposes. And occasionally, cases of interest may be put into the journal. Also, because ASAP is a conglomeration of many individuals all working on their own cases and investigations, um, they can also send their reports in for archiving or filing, and they can also, and they do quite frequently, either report in the form of a webinar or will write up the case suitably anonymized, which is then published in the journal, which comes out twice a year.
Okay. All right. That's
Fact-
intriguing. Are you
fact-
doing another course of, will this be a course offered again?
The course runs regularly because there is such great demand for it. There are actually two courses. There's the current one, which is for the accredited investigator, which is the basic one. And then beyond that, you have the registered investigator. These
Ooh.
are these are the people who go onto the ASAP register of investigators. And these are the people who would become the team leaders. So they would be the ones who have the cases assigned to them and would take the role of the lead investigator. And the
I-
reason that they're on a register is obviously so that we know who to call upon, and also the additional training is given to them so that they can be in a position to lead the teams, and also some of the requirements are stipulated by ASAP's indemnity insurance. So
Ah.
the team, all of the team have £10 million indemnity insurance, public liability insurance, and so the insurance company has a number of requirements. One of which is that they are trained, and etc. And there are certain ones that stipulate how things should be done. These are the client consent, vulnerability, the way that things are approached ethically and morally.
No, so they take it pretty serious then, which is
Oh
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Training is the very first step on the on your way to becoming an ARI, an ASAP registered investigator.
Mhm. Now, ASAP, and you can join from anywhere in the world. So I'm sure there are people, and I know there are actually people that have taken this course and as a ASAP investigator, but I'm sure you don't send them over to the UK to investigate.
No, we don't. No, we don't. In fact, one of the participants on the current course is from New Zealand,
Mhm.
and on the previous course there were two from the United States,
Yep.
and one from Australia.
Yeah, very good.
Now, what happens in those situations is they cannot ever enter the register because the registration or the register, ASAP it only operates within a fixed geographical area, England and Wales, and that's the way that it was set up
Hmm.
for.
So you couldn't go to Scotland or Ireland?
Uh, well, we do, but we can't operate as in the same way. So what we do is for people who live in Ireland or the United States or New Zealand or Australia, um, we have a second register, a kind of so they don't enjoy the insurance cover
Right.
because we're not legally allowed to do that in other countries. But if somebody, if we get a case from New Zealand, then obviously we're aware that New Zealand or the United States is a very big place. But we do pass it to them to say, are you in a position to maybe take a look at this on our behalf?
Mhm. Ah, very good. Now, that's intriguing because I bet you in the United States, of all the ghost teams, I would bet you I mean, I think 5% would be high that actually have any type of insurance to investigate. And so that's what a big flaw in the United States because we are a sue happy country. And they don't realize that they could be opening themselves up to monetary losses, large monetary
Actually,
losses.
here in the UK, I would say the majority of paranormal investigation private groups, the sort of para teams,
Mhm.
including Parascience, carry 10 million uh, pound public liability indemnity insurance
Yeah,
as standard.
yeah, that's what I said. I bet you the bulk of the teams in the United States haven't
Now,
even thought of it, tell you the truth.
I mean, the UK isn't very litigious, but there have
We
been
are.
yeah, but there have been instances in the past where you might have, I'm just thinking of one off the top of my head, where there was the owner of a building that was partially collapsed or needed some some significant repairs, had tried to put the blame onto a paranormal team that had been there, saying that they'd done, some damage and that they had to pay up.
Mhm.
Um, in that case, I think the matter was settled before it
Amicably.
went.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and the group didn't need to pay anything at all because it was sort of demonstrated that the damage had been done by was pre-existing.
Oh, that's good.
But nevertheless, it was a warning shot to all the teams to go get themselves some insurance cover.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's people
But as I
don't
say,
even think about it here
in
in the
my
States.
experience, I have never been in a position where um, I've ever had to call upon the services of our insurance company.
Mhm. Yeah. I know that when I was with well, I am still with the Lighthouse, but when I was at the Lighthouse, we did tours, and this was not on a paranormal tour, it's just on a regular tour. We had someone that tripped over something and hurt themselves, and there ended up being a lawsuit on that. But we had insurance, so we
Uh-huh.
were covered. But yeah, that's something that a lot of people in the United States don't
The other,
really
the other thing as
understand.
well, I think culturally, the other difference is when you go on an investigation, or even as a member of the public, you go on an investigation here in the UK. Um, it's quite normal for you to receive a set
Waiver.
of, well, not a waiver, but a set of, wear warm clothes, wear suitable footwear, the
Mhm.
floor are uneven, it's going to be damp and cold and horrible, and you are responsible for your own well-being.
Yep.
And so people, agree to those terms and conditions.
Yeah.
It's very rare. In fact, I can't think of a single occasion where a member of the public has sued a para team after perhaps falling and, hurting
Mhm.
themselves. The British are sort of more like, oh, you know, clumsy me, I tripped over.
Mhm. So it's blamed on them. I know of one particular investigation at a port, not involving my team, but someone I know, who was running a public event, and a girl fell off second story floor and broke her arm, and so there was ended up some pavement at that time on that. So yeah, it's a interesting thing. I'll tell you that, especially because everybody's got to go do it in the dock and everything else, and you're right, floors are uneven. This is that and that and that. So yeah, it's dangerous stuff. Anyway,
Also, the other requirement here in the UK, put in place by a lot of the locations, is that you have to do a risk assessment. You have to complete a risk assessment form where this is an exercise that we do a lot in the UK for work and leisure. So the organizer will have to complete what they call a risk assessment form and show that that has been properly done. And it is a form of legal document. So on that, you would identify trip hazards, wet floors, slippery surfaces, and you would put in steps to mitigate. And if you can show that you've done that, then if somebody does ultimately manage to hurt themselves, the insurance company will turn around to you and say, can I have a look at your risk assessment? And if you've covered it, then generally you're okay.
yep.
There's always, I mean, there's always one, is the saying. And, but generally, I mean, I know people have fallen over. I know people have bumped their heads. And,
Mhm.
one of the things that parascience does, and, people used to laugh at us, is now you haven't been to the UK yet, but when and if you ever do, you'll realize that a lot of our medieval castles have very low doorways.
Yeah, that would be a killer for me.
And yeah, it's very easy to walk through one of these and you duck going in, but then you stand up in the middle and bump your head on,
Mm.
a 4 foot thick stone wall, and it hurts. So having had it happen to me on more than one occasion, I made with parascience, both Anne and I made it a rule and a requirement for our team to wear a hard hat.
I'd had, yeah.
And other groups sort of looked at us and go, "Why are you all wearing hard hats?" I was like, "Well, I've got the scars to show why."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like, if you tore an old-fashioned submarine or even a new one, actually. I mean, the same thing. The
Yeah,
hatches
yeah.
they go through a shot. So, but anyway,
I mean, hard hats. A lot of our team. Another requirement of our team is high vis jackets or high
yeah,
vis vest. Um, that's that. That's. I mean, it's twofold actually. One is practical in terms of the paranormal, and the other one is practical in terms of safety. Because if you are operating in the dark, not that we do it routinely, but occasionally, you work at a location where there is no lighting.
yeah,
Um, So if somebody's got a high vis reflective jacket on, it's easier to find them if anything untoward does happen. If you do manage to hurt themselves and you want to find them in a hurry. And secondly, from a paranormal perspective, people occasionally, they'll get up and go to the bathroom, or they'll wander into a place where they shouldn't be or weren't supposed to be. And when you look back at the video footage, ghosts don't generally wear high-vis jackets.
No.
So it's very quick to, to go, that's one of ours.
Yeah. We used to do the those sticks you break and they glow in the dark. They
We carry them as well.
Yeah, we put those on our wrists, or we wear a lanyard and do it that way.
Yeah, we generally use the glow sticks attached to things like tripod legs.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Or
the damn thing for one.
Well, if you've got a camera up and you've put a tripod, it might not be visible. So we usually get a zip tie and tie the glow stick to it so people know it's there.
Yep. Well, anyways, we do have to take a break. We're coming up to the corner. I wanted to talk to you. I found a book that kind of goes with your new book that you're writing, Periscope. So I wanted to talk to you about. What's that?
Paravision.
Paravision, Periscope. I don't know. They're all para something or other, right?
Some have periscopes.
Yeah, periscopes. There you go. Anyway, Paravision. So there you go. So, anyways, but we're gonna take a break and we'll come back. I'll talk to you a little bit about that. But you're listening to Ghost Chronicles International right here on TogiNet Radio, and we're all the platforms, actually, all your major platforms carry Ghost Chronicles International, and we're brought to you by Circles of Wisdom, 386 Merrimack Street, Methuen, Massachusetts, the Glanton Messier Family Law Group, 55 High Street, North Andover, Massachusetts. Positively Brilliant Reiki-infused candles on S days, and our good friends on Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. We'll be right back after we go to Illinois.
Do you have a paranormal event, book, or something else you want people to know about? Then why not advertise it on Ghost Chronicles Radio? With over 150,000 downloads a month, get your message out to an audience that's interested in the subject. We have a plan at a cost that fits your needs. For more information, contact Ron Kolick at anyghostproject@comcast.net or call 978-455-6678.
Located in Illinois, there lies a sleepy little town where nothing is a common occurrence.
You going to that party in town tonight?
Heck yeah! I only turned 18 once.
That is until the night of celebration.
Where the hell is she? Oh no. No, Jessica!
What's happening?
From the creators of Shadowhunters, Bite Me, comes a tale of primal terror and grindcore mayhem. Shadowhunters, kill, Jessica, kill!
And Jessica will be back next week.
I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me? My name is Harry Price. I am speaking to you via the medium of the Ghost Box. Many of you will know I carried out the first live radio broadcast from Haunted House way back in 1936 for the BBC. Now, thanks to the wonders of modern technology, I am still able to keep abreast of 21st century ghost hunting by listening to Ghost Chronicles International on TogiNet, ParaX Radio, the Ghost Channel, and even on something called a podcast. Two splendid chaps host it. One is an American who calls himself New England's own Van Helsing, although I have discovered his real name is Ron Kolek. The other is Stephen Parsons, and he's a paranormal scientist. Well, mustache, I'm required elsewhere on something called a K2. But don't forget, I'll be listening in every Tuesday from 8 o'clock in Great Britain and 3 o'clock on the American Eastern Seaboard. I trust you will join me there.
And thanks for sticking with us, because this is the second half of the first half of 2 hours of Ghost Chronicles Mayhem. The Next Generation's next. This is the international one, and we're talking about astrogallomancy.
That too.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell that is.
You don't know what astrogallomancy is?
Hey, no, I don't. Go ahead.
It's a form of divination using the astragalus, or ankle bone of a horse.
Works for me.
There you go.
Anyway,
I got a book this week. It's a dictionary. It's a very old edition of a dictionary of the occult.
Oh, cool.
So we can look up stuff.
I think that's a great idea. I don't know if you heard this, but you know that they discovered that the man got their speech through a special gene in our body, and then they transplanted that gene into a mouse.
What, now the mouse can speak?
He can, yes.
How does the mouse feel about that?
Not English, though, unfortunately.
What does it speak?
It speaks differently.
It speaks now.
But when his mother's around, it goes back to its normal voice. But intriguing. Now, would you want your animals to speak? I don't think so.
The thing I dread most is cats developing opposable thumbs.
Oh, please, no. Scary enough.
They would rule the world if they could do that.
Mm-hmm. So I have also a public service announcement. You don't have to buy Christmas gifts in 2032 as well.
Oh, because we won't be here.
Yeah, the asteroid's supposed to hit on December 22nd.
We're okay. It's the Southern Hemisphere that's getting it.
Oh, are they? Okay, yeah. What about nuclear winter and all that crap?
No. It's only a little one. It's only a 90-meter. It's a city killer.
Okay.
NASA published the track, or NASA and the ESA, European Space Agency, published.
They keep changing it, by the way. They've upgraded it at 3%.
Yeah, they've upgraded the probability, but they've also firmed up the impact zone, and it's the bottom. It's the Southern Hemisphere. So, if you live in Ecuador, South America, Africa, you're basically screwed.
Yeah. But you're wait a minute. You're trusting the people that can't even, plot the course of a hurricane, to plot the course of an asteroid that's 10 billion miles away from us.
Well, NASA don't plot the course of hurricanes.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. National Aeronautics Association with data from NASA.
I thought it was data from NOAA.
Yeah, I said that. National Aeronautics Association. Whatever.
The National Mechanics. No, NOAA is not NASA.
No, I said that with data from NASA.
Oh, okay.
Don't the English ever listen? Anyway, I got this cool book, and I was thinking of your new book, which you are writing, which is called.
I was going to say,
Paravision.
They did also say that although it's going to hit the Southern Hemisphere,
yes.
Sorry, there's a 2.5% chance of it hitting the Southern Hemisphere.
3% now. They've upgraded it.
3% now, right? Okay.
3.8 or something or whatever.
Well, Yeah, so there's still 96% chance it'll miss. Nevertheless, as I say, if it hits land, it's a city killer. If it hits in the Atlantic or the Pacific, they say the tsunami could be a big one.
Ah, good. My house might be beachfront property soon.
Nothing where, I wouldn't like to be down at the beach at Salisbury.
Well, I'll have to tell Lou that. Better sell before 2032.
Yeah, get off Plum Island, Lou.
Yeah, get off Plum Island. So anyways, back to your book, which is Paravision.
Sight and Paranormal.
Right. So that's soon to be published someday. And so
I know what you mean.
I came across this cool book, and it was originally done in 1864.
Uh-huh.
And it's called.
You were.
What's that?
I'm sure you were around then, weren't you?
Yeah, well, it was a comic book back then for us. It was called Spectropia.
Spectropia.
Yeah, you aware of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it must have been published in the UK, right? Because they can't spell color; they stick an extra U in there for some reason.
Yeah, I've got a copy of it.
Yeah, so I do too now.
Is yours an 1864 copy?
Oh, but does yours glow in the dark?
No, because mine.
There you go.
No, because mine's an 1864 copy.
I don't care. Mine glows in the dark. I can put that on my nightstand and put my beer on it, and know with the lights out and find it.
That's an interesting trick.
Interesting. Ha. Anyway, isn't that the coolest stuff? I mean, I've always loved that when I was a kid, whether it was radium or any of the light.
Unfortunately, I'm not old enough to remember ever seeing a radium dial.
You're not?
No.
Are you serious?
Deadly, because by the time I was old enough to remember them, the paint had faded. So although my grandparents had a West Clocks alarm clock,
West Clocks,
that had radium hands. In fact, I've got one.
I do too.
But whilst they are still very radioactive, they don't emit any illumination anymore because the zinc sulfide has long since been burnt off by the radiation. However,
yes,
I've got because I like radioactive stuff. I've got a collection.
We know that's what's keeping all your haunted items in check, and we found out.
Yeah, but I mean, in amongst them is a couple of World War II compasses. Again, with radium paint, so they could be used at night.
Do you know how many young girls died for that? Yeah,
well, it was a very horrific thing. But
horrible.
Anyway, back to the radium paint on the compasses.
Yes.
They arrived that they were issued out in little cardboard boxes. And inside the cardboard box was a little paper label that gave the person instructions on how to use the marching compass. And of course, these items have been together for 70, 80 years. And you can read, you can see the compass dial burnt through onto the paper label.
Oh, wow.
That's where cool. It's kind of the radiation has burnt the imprint of the dial onto the paper. But I've just, what I was saying about this other book, the dictionary, something here that I was looking up EVP, electronic voice phenomena.
Which is that book? I thought that was an old book.
It is an old book. It dates from 1950s.
Oh, 50s. That's not old.
But above it is something called electronic recording phenomena, ERP.
Okay.
So can you guess what that might be?
No, I'd like to find out though.
Electronic recording phenomena, ERP, is an alternative name for electronic voice phenomena. Now, I never knew the number of alternative terms and abbreviations in common.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold everything. EVP wasn't originally EVP. It was changed. Isn't that correct?
No, back in 1954, it wasn't.
It was changed. Oh, I get it. Oh, I can't
Oh,
remember.
the
I
new
used
one,
that in my
IT,
course.
the newest one is ITC, Instrumental Trans
Yeah, I
Communication.
know that. Yeah.
Well, anyway,
But,
hang on. Let's have a look at in the 1950s. There are a number of alternative terms and abbreviations in common use to designate this phenomena, including electronic recording phenomena, ERP, EVP, electronic voice phenomena, Raudiva voice recording, spirit voice recording, voices from the dead.
Okay.
Objectified thought forms, blah blah blah. Anyway, there you go. Just because I've just learned something. I've never heard it spoken of as ERP. So that's obviously because it's gone out. It must have gone out of fashion.
You know, that may be the thing. I can't remember. My memory sucks when it comes to that. But I used to teach the course. In the course, I always taught that EVP, before it was called EVP, was called something else. And I can't remember what that is right now. Maybe it was that. I am not sure, but that's all I can tell you. It was called something else before that. So I got.
Quite possibly, and quite possibly it may have just had a name, a different title in the USA.
It didn't. When it came out, it didn't resonate with the audience, so they EVP became more popular, and that's what stuck to it. But the other one did, and I'm pretty sure it may be Jim. Actually, I was trying to get him on the show today, but yeah, there definitely was. Yeah. Anyways, that's the thing. So going back to Spectropia. Spectropia. I mean, that's 1884, and they were understanding sight and basically how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's interesting because the book is, in case you don't know what it is, it's a small book, and it says goes through everywhere if you know how to look. Originally published in 1884, Spectrotropia is science-based, time-honored guide to seeing ghosts, goblins, spirits, skeletons, and witches, and no graveyards loitering necessary. Simply stare at the 16 color plates for 20 seconds, and you will see actual.
I know. I know.
So cool.
Well, what it was is actually Paravision does have a similar section in it where, because what Spectropia
credit to Spectrophobia was written in 1864. You just plagiarize.
Right, because in fact Spectropia is borrowing from a well-known phenomena, one that you yourself will be familiar with, and that's just persistence of vision.
Fair enough.
Because I mean, and there are plenty, on social media where stare at this picture for 20 seconds and then look away at a white wall. It's one of those persistence of vision sort of optical illusions that you used to be able to buy. When I was a kid, I was bought a book for Christmas one year, which is remarkably like Spectropia, because in it there were these weird patterns made of thousands of weird, colored dots and spots, and some of them bigger and some were small. And you were supposed to you would stare at it for 30 seconds, and then you would shut your eyes or stare at a light, and you would see either a reverse image, like a photo negative, or you would see a moving, crawling image, or yeah, I was bought one of them one year for Christmas.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It was a kid's book.
You had very enlightened parents.
Well, actually, do you know what? We were talking about childhood presents the other day.
And
and there was a YouTube program which inspired the conversation, and it was all about the toys of the 60s and 70s,
Oh, good years. Yeah.
the toys and games, and one of the games came up, and it was I had it. I was bought it one Christmas by my parents, and that
Mhm.
would have been 69. So I was 8 years old when it was bought, and it's a game by I don't know what the US equivalent, Hasbro.
Probably.
Um, but anyway, it was called Haunted House board game. So
Oh, yeah.
you threw the dice and you worked your way fighting ghosts and witches, and then up the bell tower, and
They have glow in the dark ghosts?
everything was cardboard. I don't remember anything glowing in the dark.
Yeah, they have one. It's out now. I mean, it's
Recreate-
not out now. It's you can find it on like eBay and stuff. It's a haunted house.
Well, the recreation of it.
Green glow in the dark ghost. So it's probably the same.
It was a lot of board games have been re-released.
Oh, speaking
Um,
about that, they have the Ouija Mansion out now. It's just I think it's around $30, and it's a mansion. It's very similar to a haunted house you were talking about, and the figures go through the mountain through the mansion and have to experience different things, and yeah, so it's very similar.
My parents must have been enlightened because, at that age they were buying me games and things related to ghosts and paranormal.
And I always get science stuff and war stuff.
Yeah, I got loads of cool science stuff. Astronomy, I got a
Nuclear
telescope.
lab, remember that?
No.
Yeah, they actually had that. It was
Oh,
nuclear.
I know about it, but no, that I think had been banned by this point.
Yeah. Oh well.
It was in the UK at least. Along with soon afterwards, actually, lawn darts were banned.
Yeah. That's because people were making nuclear war darts.
The other thing that was all the rage here in the UK, and I suspect in America as well, another kids thing that got banned were clackers.
No, we talked about that a little while ago, I think, and I think a Christmas one, and yeah, you were telling us about it, which was interesting.
Yeah, these are these lethal plastic things on cords. You basically swung them like they look like bolus. That South American cowboy
Yeah,
cow
you sip it out there, and
you had these hard nylon balls at the end of a cord, and then you would clack them together faster and faster. Well, they were bloody lethal.
Yeah.
But then we were a generation that used to play something you probably don't have in America, conkers.
Which is?
Basically it's a horse chestnut on a string.
No.
And then you would collect horse chestnuts, conkers as we called them, off the ground. And then you would drill a hole through it, you would thread it onto and then you would fight with them. Not each other, but you would aim to hit the other person's conker. And smash it. And if you had one that if you smashed one, yours became a oneer. If you smashed three, you were a threer. And if you smashed somebody's threer, you were a fourer. And people used to, kids resorted to all manner of tricks. They would bake them, soak them in vinegar. About 10 years ago, our government, because we might hurt ourselves. Now, this is a kids' game that goes back to pre-Victorian times, and was
like
popular.
Dragon Snap.
And the government banned it because they said it was potentially dangerous.
Oh well, no sense of humor. Anyway, Steve, you ought to see this book, Glow in the Dark. You would be amazed. It's fascinating. But anyway, all right. So yeah, we saw that Conjuring the Spirit World at the Penn Museum, which was really intriguing.
Awesome.
And
hoping that they put that on tour and bring it to the UK.
I thought you told me they were.
There was one a couple of years ago that was similar, and I'm hoping that they bring the other one, the one you just seen.
Oh,
Be very cool if they do.
they did. They had some interesting devices there, some interesting stories and so forth as well.
It's I didn't even know there was an existing spiritoscope,
Well, you do now.
and I've never seen one.
Yeah, it's on loan to this exhibit because a
And
lot of the items in this are like the Ouija board guitar and some other stuff are on loan from different.
I mean, how many, I've lost count, how many lectures, talks, and presentations have I done that talk about the spiritoscope? I've done several when I've been over in the States.
Mm.
I've talked about it on so many occasions. Robert Hare and the spiritoscope, and I've never seen one. I didn't even know that there was still. I've seen drawings and plans. In fact, you and I talked about making a reproduction. I
Yeah,
didn't know there was an original hair spiritoscope out there.
yeah. The other thing they had was a spirit bell, which was intriguing too. I mean, it was a really nice one. They did a. I this is another item that I found fascinating because they employed a candle in the use of the spirit bell, which was makes sense in a lot of ways.
How
Uh,
did it? How was a candle employed?
beneath the bell.
Or wouldn't the candles? Was it a glass bell?
Let me see. I got a picture of it here. Let me just double check
Surely
it.
the candle would be snuffed out, wouldn't it?
No, because it was low enough. It's a gorgeous thing. It's got like a brass bell. It's oh yeah, it's a picture this a wooden base.
Yeah.
Then like it's very ornate brass staff that goes up. There's like a brass or a nickel dragon with a hook on it, and then it's a glass bell that sits above it off the thing, and then probably I'd say 6 inches below it is a little votive candle.
And how does it function?
The spirit would ring bells to answer questions. Basically, the bells is the little glass thing, so the candle would provide energy for the spirit. I guess that.
Or is that the candle would also provide illumination so you could see it?
Oh, that could be too, Steve. I'm not really sure because they didn't have a lot on the thing itself. That the item was there, and I certainly don't remember. I'll do some more research on it, but it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I want to build one.
It sounds interesting, intriguing, but I think a lot sometimes because when I went to the exhibition in London, must be now 5 or 6 years ago, pre-COVID. One of the things that I found frustrating was there was a lot of exhibits, but in some cases there was no explanation as to how it functioned.
Oh, they did have that there. They did have the little explanation things on it, but I can't. My memory is shit, so I can't recall, unfortunately. And it was so much to take in, really. I mean, we spent a great deal of time there, and yet I still couldn't take it all in.
Are you tempted to go back again?
It's gone.
Oh,
yeah, it's closed. It ended February 2nd. So, yeah, but it was good. I mean, you have an all day pass, so you could go out and come back in again, and that's not a problem.
Oh, I'd have probably gone 2 or 3 times. So.
Yeah, it's not it's not like it's a whole building. It's several rooms, but it's well done. Are you kidding me? We all have time. Yeah. Anyways, they had videos there, of course, and they had different posters from magicians because it was a combination of conjuring up the spirit world where it looks at the illusions as well as
the things. The one in London was a lot of it was based on Houdini.
Yeah,
and his work with Marjorie, the Boston.
Oh yeah, Marjorie. Yeah. The naked.
Including they had the hair. I put photographs up at the time. The chiffon wrap that she wore, the box that Houdini built for her to cook her.
Yeah, the Spirit box.
Yeah,
The bell box.
it was a wooden box with a head stuck out of it.
Yeah, that's the spirit box, and they also have the bell box too, which is another device that Houdini came up to test.
But I mean, it's fascinating, and it's nice. It's nice actually that these objects have survived.
Oh yeah,
because and it shows as well. I think that the older, the original researchers weren't as dumb as people think.
and they're much more serious than
I think
we have nowadays.
I think they were much more focused than the modern investigator. Much more.
I agree.
Yeah, that comes across loud and clear if you read the research. They didn't play to a popularist audience, and they weren't interested in media. They were dedicated to their research.
Yes, they were. Yeah, and well, we do have ran out of time, but I saw our boy Crooks. I read another thing about him and a spirit, a medium that could.
Tunes.
What's that?
Tunes.
Not quite yet, is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we gotta go. Good night, everyone. Stay tuned for Ghost Chronicles. Good night. God bless.
Good night.
Didn't see that, Steve. I didn't pop up.
All right, yeah, I didn't think you'd seen it because you started off on here, William Crooks.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gone. I was just I thought look.